This is going to be a different kind of video for me. Usually video is made for things that move. However, I'm going to see how it works for things that don't move. And just to give people a view of what's on the slide and moving the slide around underneath the view of the microscope. Kind of give you an idea, an impression of what I see as I'm searching. And here's some algae from my tank that seems to have gotten into my 3-gallon microbe tank by mistake or cross-pollination. I have some algae in a small 6-ounce jar that I use for rotifer samples and algae. And I put some on a slide a while back. And then I took that slide and when it was getting old, rather than kill the bugs, I put them into my big aquarium. And apparently this algae jumped off the slide into that aquarium and took hold. And now under the side where the light is, it's got a good hold there. And we're going to 40x here. I'm using Nikon DL phase contrast lenses, but I have a 140 NA condenser under the stage at this point, so the lenses work either way. And there's a big piece of sensor dust, or as it turned out to be a big piece of dust on my projector lens at the top of the trinocular tube, and I'm going to clean that shortly. So here we're at 40x, and you can see some of the internal organelles and parts, chloroplasts. There, see, the sensor dust is gone. Anyway, you can see the chloroplasts and such inside the cell walls here. And now we're at, I think I'm using, for this view, I'm using a Nikon 20x Plan apochromat lens. To record this video, I'm using a Canon T1i, and as you can see, the image quality is just not the best. I'm 2 years of fighting with this thing. I'm really sick of it. And these CMOS sensors on DSLR cameras are just, while they can shoot video, they're not made for shooting video. And in this particular one, you can see these little black spots at different parts on the frame are, I thought they were sensor dust. Well, they're not. They're burnt pixels. They're dead. And I can't clean them up in video. Don't know how to. I don't think there is a way to clean them up, edit them out. So I'm just sick of this camera. 2 years of fighting with it. It's time to try something else. And I'm going to go with a CCD security camera and a DVR recorder, which is Canon DSLRs are great cameras. I prefer them for stills, but they're just not up to it. I'm disappointed in this T1i. And now there are 2 newer versions, and they still have the problem of burnt pixels. Here we're at 40x again, looking at this rotifer. I don't know the species. I've forgotten what they are. They have these long toes, as you can see, and they flick them like a bird flicks his tail all the time. But look at him. I mean, he's he's got a plan. You know, he's an animal. He's got 1,000 cells. He's got a brain with 15 cells, and he's got 2 eye spots. So he's got a plan. He knows what he's doing. He's not just a one-celled amoeba, and even amoebas have a plan. They know what they're doing. You can't watch them for very long and not realize it. I'm just constantly amazed at what life can do. I'm even more amazed that humans just know so little about it. I've come to the conclusion that what we learned back in the 50s and 60s about the little guys, the little bugs and beasties surrounding us, was all wrong. It's just an opinion of some scientist that knows, probably know more than I do. Maybe he knows some detail stuff, but philosophizing is just, he's no better than anybody else. And I take exception to their ideas. Here we're back to 20x. And by the way, this is the second individual rotifer of this species that I found in this bit of algae. They're not very common, but there's more than one of them here. And there's some other little things floating around you can see, swimming.